whole bunch of random things we talked about. In your social dance, some of the benefits I was feeling, you seemed a lot lighter with your arms. Because remember, I probed you about what your priorities are when you start your dance, and you were talking about connecting with her first. Then once she's out, waiting for her and making sure she's ready to go. Those are all great things. Timing, way better than it was even the last time I saw you. Particularly when you were standing around. I felt like your timing of understanding that 2 beat before going again was way better off. But we did talk about a couple tension points and things like that. So a couple times you were getting too far away from me. We used the example of rolling me in 3 and 4 and catching my hip 5 and 6. So noticing my body position, if this is my follow, I'm leaning into her. You were trying to go away from her, which was causing quite a tight arm. And that's just because you're out of range of motion. So remembering that a hip catch is a rotational spring, not a linear spring. So now as you caught me on 5 and 6, you should be moving in with your hand and causing the rotational spring against your pec, which allows you to lean into me, and therefore we had almost another foot of motion. And then you were just having fun playing with that from side to side, and you noticed it was really smooth when you were bouncing with my energy rather than trying to go across it the whole time. We talked a little bit about just the release of that. You know, if you only want a single turn, you don't have to pull very hard. I've got so much wound up that it doesn't take much for me to unwind. You only really have to oomph it if you want 2 spins. Then we just talked about the timing of it. So if you're you facing me dancing, right? So you're where you are, and I'm dancing towards you. If you want to pick up my back, you want to pick up my back as you see it, and then start to go. If I've crossed the quarter mark to you, it's too late. So if you were trying to get this left shoulder, it's too late to pick me up now. You have to make contact back here for me to go. If you start here, you're going to end up running around and grabbing my boob, or if you're holding onto my hip, you're going to end up holding onto my stomach, or worse, right? So it's just a matter of getting that timing, which most of the time is pretty good, but there are a few moments if you try to just decide when that was. And it's just watching. Then we got into turns and talking about that pulse thing. You asked me about elliptical versus circular and where the power is. So on a stationary turn, example that I gave was out of a whip, and I'm keeping her on the spot. Very small, perfect circle, but I'm only powering the front half of the circle, letting it relax. Like my bike pedal. Power stroke, her away from me action. Everything coming towards me is relaxed. On a traveling turn, like a left side pass with an inside turn, every time that I want her to travel, it's elliptical. And again, the power stroke is as she goes away from me, and away from me, and away from me. Then we talked about when you're changing the hand level. So an example was you're turning me, then you wanted to bring my hand down. If my body is still moving, my center line is moving away from you, it's too early to pull on my hand. You want to wait until my body's coming towards you, and then anywhere in that mark, anywhere from here, bring my hand down is totally smooth. Reverse for if you're powering the turn. So you gave me a hammer lock, which was really nice, but you wanted to power my turn and get me going again. But my body was still closing towards you, so that's too early. If you had waited till my body was starting to go away from you again, totally easy for me to accelerate there. And that concept goes in every single time that you bring your hand up and down or down to up, if she's in rotation. So if you feel resistance from her, that's telling you you're too early or too late. If it feels super smooth and effortless, her body and her hand are in alignment and we're good to go. So it's not relative to timing of song, it's relative to timing of her body. And that's something we adjust. Then we got into
Zouk roll.
Oh, that Zouk roll. So you were talking about it from a whip. From the inside turn, and then you're doing that roll through, where me as the follower, you're catching onto the top of my trap, and making me step through to that position. So the first thing was I wanted you to reach out more from like the top of your hand rather than trying to squeak in under this way. This is just a little weird. So you're making contact anywhere from the base of my neck to my trap. And so I can let that happen by extending out over the top this way. Then the big thing was my hand on her neck trap is making a small little scoop towards me circle. But my left hand is making a big circle on this plane. So if I'm facing you, that's this plane all the way up and down. So in this whip, 3 and 4, 5, 6, when I'm making that contact point, right, I'm touching here, then my left hand's looping up over the top to go. And then when we end, slide down off of her trap to the top of her arm and the deltoid, and use that one for compression and this one for tension. So I can kind of stretch out her arm, which gives me the possibility, if she's moving away from me, I've got tension. If she's falling in, I've already got compression. But you felt it when I was moving you, how easy it was to steer with that arm locked out. And then the choice that you had was poster, walk over, but then make the turn happen up top, right? Another choice would be from here, if you're swaying back and forth, prep on your left leg and turn her inside. So if I'm the follower here, you've got my arm, we're loaded up on your left leg, you can just bend that arm and turn it outside. It's a really easy exit. The other one is, once I've swayed away from you, walk me towards you, prep me, and then turn me up. Which as the leader would look more like we're swaying here, and as I'm on my right foot, I would walk her in, walk her out, turn her around. And so it just becomes a left side pass and an inside turn. But the weird thing is you're holding onto my shoulder. And I take it away before the turn starts.
Thank you.
Cool.